The amount of grift in the AI agent space is ridiculous. Had to dress up. This is a very serious video, so I had to dress up very serious. No. Hey, I'm Parker X, and I led tech for a startup that sold for 23 million bucks. After that, I tried my hand at building Airbnb for music. Don't do that. You need a big market. You need to identify what works, what doesn't in a market. But yeah, on this channel, I make daily uploads where I cover the stuff that I'm doing, what I'm learning as I scale an AI services code to 100K a month in profit. We use as much AI leverage as possible without generating slop. That's huge. So we quickly go through some questions that people ask, and I go through those, and then I go through a couple news things just real fast with predictions on them. So it's evergreen. It's not just like a sloppy AI newsletter. And then we go through the strategy that I'm executing on and some of the builds. So let's rip it. It's so funny seeing me in a suit, but this is high quality. I'm like Lex Friedman, but I look different. So first, questions and answers. Is there any way to get in contact with you, sharing some ideas about YT strategy? My dog Marlin, dude, how are you gonna strategize if you can't figure out how to get someone's email? Come on, bro. There's 3 levels of nerddom that you can go through here. I can click on your name. This would be like the V0 noobs version. I can see if there's an email in there. I think there's not one for you. So you can do that, I'm pretty sure. If you wanted to go a little further, you could just type in my name, which is, it's hard to find. It's the name of my channel. And then you'd click there, and then you'd find a bunch of stuff in there. I guess another way, if you wanted to go and get like my passport number, you could run Awesome OTINT, OSINT, which is open source intelligence. And you could run one of these and you might find my passport number. Probably not. But those nerds out there, if you wanted to learn, it's kind of crazy what you can do with these tools. So yeah, that's how I do it. I would just start basic. But if you don't feel like doing any of that, it's me at parkerx.com. Cool. Yo, love your content. I'm trying to build something. Do you have any tips for getting people to invest in your ideas, and when the product is finished, how to launch it successfully? Yeah, there's a lot in there. I did the first company. I was like a 20-year-old, 20 something, maybe 19. And I joined my almost brother-in-law, who were no longer at that level. My sister and him broke apart. But when I joined him, we did it bootstrapped. We didn't raise money. When I did it the second time with Airbnb for music, I raised 150K. And what I would say is make something that you want. I'm not going to just parrot what Y Combinator says, which is like make what people want. That's like obvious, right? But there's steps to that. What I would do first is, it's going to sound silly, but as an exercise, go rip the Y Combinator interview questions, like the form, the application. And then as an exercise, go make like a intro deck, which is like 8 slides. And what that'll do is it forces a lot of things. This is trash, by the way. This was made in June of last year when I was still trying to raise. But what it does is it makes you think through all the like reasons why this thing needs to exist. And then in the slides, you actually have screenshots of the thing, right? So that would require you to actually make it. So yeah, I'd start with a problem that I personally have, and then I would go solve it, because it will make you not have to talk to customers as much when you're making the first version of it. And then once you've scratched your own itch and figure out how to market it, talk about it on the internet. I think build in public's this funny thing where like a lot of people are like, oh, build in public's for losers, indie hackers. Guess what? Y Combinator is build in public. Look at what Sam Altman's saying. He's like, I'm back on my YC game, building in public. So yeah, having like a little deck, knowing why you're doing it. At least if you're trying to raise money, that's going to be specific to that. Because then you'll figure out all this information of like, how much am I going to charge them? How's that going to work? How am I going to distribute this thing? This is what I'm doing right now, right? It's funny. And then like, why are you the guy to do it? So there's a standard one to making these. I would use a teaser deck as 7 slides, intro decks 10, proper decks like 15, but then you have an appendix with a bunch of stuff. And then when it comes to launching it, well, talk about it on the internet. Get people interested in it while you're building it. That's the best way. This is what I'm doing now. Been loving your content. It's criminal how low your views are, while a dozen video creators can make videos on same N8N templates and get hundreds of thousands of views. Hey, Medwest Mariner. Great name. Yeah, most N8N/make is garbage. I gotta get on my high horse here. This same thing happened in drop shipping. That was a huge trend. And what happens is a space gets hot. It gets trendy. People trend hop. They jump into it. They're good at marketing. They're good at making content. They don't actually do the thing that they're talking about. 99% of the creators on YouTube right now making make and N8N stuff, they haven't made a dime in the real world of using these things. They couldn't have, because you just can tell. Like, the video intro opens with them taking a voice of some stupid movie character and being like, it can control my calendar and it'll like ring your doorbell. And it's like kind of like Woof, if you're familiar with The Office, where you get a fax, an email, text, all this stuff. And you're just like, dude, this is the stupidest thing ever. But I feel bad for most people because they're just like, I'll buy your slop. It's crazy to me. I should be nicer, but it just, I don't know. There's a lot of edutainment that actually isn't edu. It's just entertainment. So, yeah. That's why I made this flywheel where it's like everything that I must do must play into the next thing. So the videos that I'm making now are things that I already am forced to do. Because I make the video, I have to know what's going on. Because I make the video, I have to do the research. And because I have the school, I have to produce really valuable things. And then I use said valuable things to do client work to advance my own SaaS. So I'm like marketing and building in public. Hard to keep up daily. Still need to focus on this. Insane value. Thanks, bruh. You rock. Can we have a video of your story, how you build your startup? What's your life story? That might be a little helpful to us. Yeah, I'll give you the 2-minute version of it. So then I'll make a proper video just explaining it. So it was my sister's boyfriend's startup. His name is Jason. Company was called Delivery Dudes. I always say at the beginning of the videos, I led tech at a startup that sold for $23 million. That's because I had gone to school. I had gone to a college, right? And I made it into about the first year. And every time that I'd go for a semester, I'd come back and I'd see him like delivering food for restaurants. I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I was throwing parties and I was charging people to come to the parties and making money that way. And then I decided, whoa, I can recruit these people to come and work at this company. They need money. Let's launch lunch delivery. So I was the first lunch delivery guy. And then you figure out, oh, we probably need like technology beyond a whiteboard to figure out who's going to pick up the orders. Okay, let's build some tech. How do you build tech? Parker, can you help build tech? There's a guy named Austin who built the first version of it. He was awesome. I learned a bunch from him of how to just get stuff out in the world. And then it kind of evolves. Like after you're making 100K a month, then you have a different system than 200, then 250, then 500, then a million. You know, that's just kind of how it works. At our peak, I think it was 73 million. I really want to get like a screenshot of that so I can verify it, but that's what we'd say in the meetings and the P&L. And I guess you just kind of have to trust that. So I do trust it, I guess. But yeah, however many times 12s goes into 73 was what we peaked at a month. So yeah, doing 6 million a month in gross food sales, you have different stuff than you do in the early days. So it just, the faster you can learn, the real skill, the best skill you can learn how to do in anything is learning how to learn really fast. Get to competency fast, leverage AI to do that. Yeah. And then I'll make a proper video kind of explaining everything because I've done a lot of stuff. I've had a YouTube channel that got kicked off by the Department of Homeland Security because I was teaching people how to make pyrotechnics. It was called Park of the Pyro. When I was 13, I got addicted to Ableton Live and I produced a bunch of music. I started scripting and running my own servers, like dedicated servers for Counter-Strike. Had a community there. After that, produced music, made over 40 tracks, spun in a club in Miami. Realized I didn't want to do that because my career would be living in clubs. After that, got into design, interned under the guy who started Liquid Death, which is a water company. That showed me that it's incredible what you can do with the power of ideas. So I was like, whoa, this guy just turned water into $1 billion company. I can do anything. Dropped out of school, joined my sister's boyfriend named Jason, did Delivery Dudes, started with guerrilla marketing, literally flyering stuff. and then designing the flyers, and then designing the car wraps. Trained under a guy who's a total gangster, creative. Then realized I was into tech. Started designing apps. Started managing those apps, and then by the end of it, was doing like just front end styly stuff. But then also like leading all the engineering, and then like you get a really cursory, really like broad understanding of how it all works. Cool. So that actually was most of it. Now, some of the news. Let's see. I guess I missed all the stuff after delivery dudes, but I need to get on to the next, and I'll make a proper video just for you. So thank you for the comment, and please leave more of them because it's fun. They launched Claude for Education. Okay, what does that even mean? Let's see what Mr. Threadboy has to say about it, because we don't really care about his take. We care about what it is. Okay, so what makes it different than normal project? Okay, cool. So yeah, they basically just took a prompt and then built one button around it. Talk about innovation. I'll dig into it, but like when I look at that, I just think, cool, you did what Notebook LM did a year ago. Now let's talk about it. The name of this video is Beware of the Amount of Shysters. James, my boy, like there's something going on in the space where everyone's getting fast attention by saying, here's how I'm making all this money using this thing that takes no effort at all. I just flicked my finger and it printed money. No, dude. If you were doing that, you wouldn't share. Like that's why I was so hesitant about even making a paid offer for the AI stuff within the platform called School. I was so hesitant about it. I was like, how do I stand out? Well, it's because I'm actually making money with client work, and I'm also launching a SaaS. And my idea, instead of raising venture capital, was to productize that, put 70 pieces of content that will be evergreen frameworks, and agree to myself that I'm going to make content in there around the builds that I'm doing. So it's like I'm already doing the thing and putting it out and selling it as a SKU. And then I can monetize that to then force myself to be better at making content, being at the edge, become the AI guy. Well, it's kind of cringe. But yeah, I feel like the strategy for a lot of people is like, new trend, go print. And they haven't made real stuff before. They haven't like worked in technology. So if you like go look at most of them, like I jumped in this guy's Telegram. That's how far I was down the funnel. And he's like, I'm gonna like teach you how to blow up. And then his first thing is like, I'm blowing up on TikTok. And you check his thing, he's got like 5 followers. And you're like, okay. And he's talking about how he's making 500 posts a day. You're making stuff that nobody wants to hear or see at scale. What's the point? And then he talks about his conversion rates, 0.01%. That's awful, dude. Make like a quarter as many posts better. Ugh. Okay, other news. There's a video editing thing that I'm gonna reverse engineer using my reverse engineering prompt. This lets you get closer to the metal. Now that's just a cool phrase for saying you want to be able to own the prompt. A lot of the stuff in the video gen space or video chop space goes something like this. You have your long form, LF, and then it goes into Opus Clips or Descript. And it's for like the lady who cooks in her kitchen who's non-technical and wants shorts because she heard shorts are good. And that's good. That's a good cohort. It's going to service a lot of people. But I'm not a grandma cooking, and I don't want to have cringe content. They make cringe content at scale. They are good at identifying stuff in the video that will likely be good. They transcribe it. They probably prompt it to be like, what's going to work? What's pithy? I don't know. But it ends up like looking like an AI made it. And that is insta kill on brand. Like for me, the difference is how do you make it feel dope? Like how do you make it feel like I made it? And that's it. That's why I'm not like releasing any of the like workflows I have out into the wild until they're really good. I'll be adding like 3 videos a week on the main next week, but that's 10 across a week. That'll probably be painful for a week. And then I'm going to go into this, which is the OSS prompt. Basically, you can prompt and own the part of the video editing before it goes to become a short. So it's actually not open source. So I'm going to use my reverse engineering setup to go and figure out how to make it. So I'm excited about that. This, I don't even want to talk about it. It doesn't look interesting. Okay. So on the reverse engineering thing, just so you guys know, this isn't a school. Sorry, I'm actually gatekeeping this because I don't even know if I'm going to keep it in the school because if I don't know, but this just I worked really hard on this, so I don't want to give it away. But it's a reverse engineering thing. Basically, like step one is you do research, and again, all you're doing with agentic flows is replace manual steps and check outputs. You do that in a loop, this part. You check the outputs until it's good, and then you automate it. I always refer to Elon's 5-stepper, which is not on my background, but he basically says you want to remove parts that you don't need and you don't automate until the end. There's probably a lot of dumb requirements, and then speed things up and then automate. So in this case, I'd do research. I'd grab Wappalizer. I'd look at any of the stuff I can find on the open internet about the thing that I'm trying to build. Then I run the reverse engineering prompt. It has like a stack in it that I'm going to use. And then you run F1, F2, F3, which is a product manager, which is me in the past, which is so funny. It's like this is literally my whole job. And you take the output of the reverse engineering things, feed it into the technical product manager. You go from technical product manager into expert solutions architect, which is like the guy you used to pay $250,000 to come up with good ideas and work with your technical PM. And so each one ladders off the next with a ton of context and research. And then PRD goes to step-by-step atomic roadmap, and then that would go into the implementation, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing that. And it should go quickly. And then I'll use that in the stack. Next, I had a really good call with my buddy Dane. He's the one that we did the Airbnb for music thing. And by the way, the tech was sick. Like literally every single thing in Airbnb, like even to date with their stack, like we built. It's just crazy. And when I say we, I was just PMing and designing. He was actually building it. So kudos to him. It was built in Flutter. He's like the Flutter G. You can hate on it if you want, but I don't care. We did it. And he just was talking all about like his test flow. And so I wanted to bring that up because that's what will be at the tail end of this flow. Where it's like, if I'm not reverse engineering things, then I just go straight to F1, F2, F3. And you can screenshot and grab the tops of those, but I'm gatekeeping, sorry. And then I'll add testing to it. And I'm not sure I'm going to experiment with adding testing within F2 and then also afterwards, and then also in the CI/CD, because it's like when you crack that code, that is mega alpha, and that's not something I'll even share in the school. Honestly, like that's the thing. It's like so many people they like proclaim that they've found this amazing alpha, but like they wouldn't share it if it was really printing out much money because that is the advantage. So I share a lot of the stuff, but when I find something that's really gonna crush, and this is advice to you, like that is your alpha. So other things, this is strategy. So I'm going to stand up this agents Python proof of concept today. So shout out to Hari, one of the viewers of the channel. He was like, yo, this map thing sounds cool. And actually another guy from like California that's like building an iPhone app that like does something with a calendar, he reached out too. So it's funny, like people are interested in map. But the whole idea is like, I want to make it feel like a video game. What makes video games addicting is the psychology and the hooks that they use. So how do you make the game of life feel like a video game? I've tried it every different way. It's like I put streaks on the board when I was learning to code. I'd have little blocks that I'd get, similar to like a GitHub contribution. That's okay. There's psychology around like urgency there. But like, how do you take the XP bar, the life bar, the hearts, the flashes, the pulsations, like all these UX elements that drive behavior in a video game to get them to go do the quest, to get them to get the gold? That's what I'm thinking about with map. And then driven by multi-agentic platform, yada yada jing jong, like there's a bunch of cool stuff. But like no customer on the planet cares about that. They just want to know, for any business, will this make me money, or save me time? There's some like things that just always sell. Like sex always sells. Am I going to look good? Am I going to get laid? Am I going to make more money? Like if you have any of those, then you're winning. Um, so, anyways, I'm going to be building like really, really basic POC just to get it hooked up. And then some of the stuff I'm playing around with, just like the video game ideas, is like, okay, at the end of the day, it is kind of just like a calendar as a primitive underneath the hood. But like, how do you make it so that you can tell, like, if you didn't speak the English language, if you weren't blind, but like if you were deaf, if you didn't speak English, like how could you determine what time of day it is and what's coming up? And like this kind of idea is where I'm going, where it's like it doesn't look the way I want it to look, but you could basically have this runner that's moving along, and then as events come up throughout the day that you did have scheduled, then you can see those. This is for the person who hates calendars. I hate calendars. I've used them forever, but like, and I know the value of them, but I want to make something that like feels again like a video game. And this is simulated at a 30-second rate, but it would be a full day, and then this would just be part of it, and then we'll have all the other primitives that people are used to using in here. So yeah, that brings up this topic of data compression. I can't find the article. The idea is that I don't think chat is the final form factor. I think it's nice, but we've had this same exact thing in like a lot of different cases where it's like right now, basically chatbots, it's awesome. They're smarter, but this has been around since 2015. So I think what's going to end up happening is instead of it being a chatbot that can do tool calls within the thing, it's recognizing what you would likely do next and then offering you the ability to just like nod your head or be like, yeah, and then it like does the thing. So as it learns you, as it gets more context based on your behavior in the app, it's taking product analytics. So like what things does the person click? What are their workflows? It's tracking those, learning those, training against them, and then suggesting the next thing you should do, and then eventually just doing it. So that's really what it is, but it requires all the tools under the hood. So like the calendar will have like schedule assistant and like all these little point solutiony AI things, but like no one cares about what's underneath it. It's just like, does the thing solve my problem or not? The golden test. This is about tests. There's us this morning. I dressed up for you guys. So, oh yeah, and he's building like this cool app that goes in golf carts, tells you where you're at. It's built, and he built the whole thing. So that's cool. Very very cool. I spoke about this a little bit, but I again like I've just been like staring at these things. And I'm like, how do you like get people addicted to the game of life? And so when I look at this, there's levels, there's quests, there's like enemies that you have to take down. So I'm almost like framing like is a project an enemy? You have to take it down. And then how would XP play into it? What would be interesting, and I just thought of this, so it's incredibly underdeveloped in terms of thought. But if you could give some sort of incentive on the cost of the product for getting XP, it had to be done right. Where it's like you balance the profitability and opportunity of the business with the success of the user. Because I'm just like that's the business cap side. Where it's like, oh, what's your LTV to CAC? You want a really good ratio there of like you're printing off each customer and it doesn't cost a lot. CAC gets figured out when your shit's good. So it's like just make the thing awesome. So that'd be figured out, but it will take a long time to like figure out how to make it good. But in the age of AI, like abundance is obviously going to be a thing. Software going to be commoditized. So you can't be like a cookie cutter Shad CN app, right? Like you got to be different. You got to be cool. So I'm going to be building like World of Warcraft for your goals. It won't look like this, obviously. But maybe even something like to the idea of like a character. It's like I always go to this idea of like you're here, like if you ever been to like a shopping mall, like that's like a funny idea, but like you're going to somewhere, so there's like you are here, you want to get here, and on like a shopping mall map you'd see it, and it's like the list of all the like stores or whatever. And then you have some sort of map that like explains how to get places. So I don't know, I'm trying to just think, of something like that exists in the world that is a heuristic that people are already used to. Like the use of heuristics is really important. I'm trying to draw a pin. It's like you are here and you need to get here, and then here's the steps. Um, like a heuristic in ecom would be like you wouldn't put the shopping cart at the bottom left. Like everyone under the sun knows that it goes at the top right because that's what Amazon does. That's what Shopify. Like everyone just knows that. Same thing with email. Like there's heuristics around email. So what heuristics exist in the app that you're building, the thing you're trying to build, that you could take from other industries? Because that's what makes it interesting. That's why Liquid Death worked. They didn't copy any of the heuristics, any of the design, any of the things that were going on in water. They looked at like when we named the product, I that was like part of the session there, and like Liquid Death and Noble were the top two names. And it came out of a session of looking at pro athletes and being like, why did Red Bull win? Why are they winning? It's like, oh, because they don't sell an energy drink, they sell an emotion that you're going to be able to take anything on. You're going to be pushing the edge of what's possible in human performance. So in this case, it's really like, how do you give them a feeling of accomplishment on their day to day stuff? Like, I'd be looking at this and I'd be like, okay, like maybe as an exercise, if I have the things of life that you need to do this, it's like, what things does everybody do every day that's like trying to move forward, right? Like, there's a couple daily drivers, and this is how I scaffolded the first version of the app, which is like you have your goals, you have your tasks that are the daily things you do to move towards those goals, and there's patterns around that. Like, are these actual next actions that are atomic steps, or does it say like get jacked? No, you want to say, oh, I need to go to the gym 3 days a week. I need to do this program. Da 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 da. You have your goals. You have your tasks. You probably have notes. You probably have some sort of health information. So a health dash. So these are things that people all over the world use. At least like three of them, right? And so when I look at those, it's like, okay, well, that's in IRL. What's in video game world? Well, you have like an XP, you have quests, you have skills, you have your level, which is XP. You have a heads up display of a map of like where you're navigating. You have NPCs. You have what else? Inventory. I dumped a lot of hours into Guild Wars 1, not WoW. But I'm using WoW because it was more addictive. And then you have like this general like kind of look, like looks kind of interesting. So the art's a big one. It's more on the design side than the primitives of the app. Then you have like this open world chat, which is interesting because you can see other people, you can talk to them. What else do we see in here? Enemies. So we're running up on 30 minutes, which is how long I take to do these videos now. But this is kind of where I'm going with this, where I've built this before. I had all these apps. I've built them, unbuilt them, rebuilt them, built them sideways, upside down, whatever. Even if I put all these agents under there that like help you, like I'm not gonna out cursor the guy who makes cursor notes, right? Even if you bundled it, that's still commoditized. But if you have this brand that's built around this sort of thing, I mean, I just go back to the liquid death. It's like water is the biggest commodity on the world, but they can't get copied because they were so different. And so, yeah, I think if I looked at this, it's like, well, which ones match? It's like, okay, if I did like, well, goals tie to maybe your level and maybe your quests, and then I guess tasks kind of ladder up to quests as well and XP. And then maybe your notes. The calendar and the map are pretty relevant. So it's like trying to figure out how do you make calendar kind of look like and feel like a map. Like what I had before was that thing I was just showing where it's like if you were on the calendar, you kind of have this motion that's going on. And then as things pop up that you have to do that are scheduled, they're already there. But then as things that you do in real time, like you do a workout, like it just kind of shows up and then it looks different and it has all the contextual information. Before the workout, it's going to look different because you need to know what the heck you're doing. That would be your workout assistant. That's like, yo, time to get jacked. Here's what you're going to do. Then after, it's like, yo, you got jacked, but it wasn't, your heart rate wasn't as good as the last one, stuff like that. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Okay. Then on the Vibe TV side, I built the first version of this. So the thing that I do at the top of this show is I do a little bit of a news section. But what I am doing now is like, okay, add something to Twitter bookmark. This is the next step. And then the Twitter bookmark turns into a site that has all the things, and then I can check them. So this is V1. V0 is done. V0 is just RSS to summaries, but it looks like crap. So, but it's done. Love to know what you guys think about this. This is actually the call to action. Yeah, please let me know what you guys think about this. Like, what video game am I not thinking of that would help with this? And then like the video, obviously, I have to say that. And comment below too if you have a good unit testing strategy. Like, what am I missing there? I'm not sure. To be totally honest, I'm supposed to say something in the video that's like a prompt template or like a get the freebie below, but I can't think of anything. So, see you guys. Subscribe.